Welcome to the first ever episode of the Hot Take Show. I'm Andrew Fenichel, and today we'll be bringing you the heat, the spice, and everything in between. On each episode, two panelists enter, each with their own flaming hot take. However, only one can secure the bag, determined by me. With that being said, let's get right into it.
And now, the Hot Take Show with your host, Andrew Fenichel.
Welcome again to the first episode of the Hot Take Show. I'm your host, Andrew Fenichel, and with me today, on my left, we have Jake Leiker, and on my right, we have George Irving. So, what are the rules? Each panelist has a minute to deliver their hot take. Their opponent has 2 minutes immediately after to rebut that take. We'll end the show with a final 1-minute statement from each contestant, and then I will pick the winner. So, we flipped a coin. George won the toss and elected to defer. That means, Jake, you're up first. You ready?
I've never been more ready, Andrew.
Let's hear it.
Exhibit A, the Beanie. We're gathered here today to debate an important topic. Last year, I arrived in this wonderful state of Illinois, having never seen snow. We took a Lyft to Chicago. The Lyft driver's name was Tiffany. She proved to be a guardian angel. She gave me many great pieces of advice to survive the winter. One of those pieces of advice, however, was you need to make sure you have a hat. And this was confusing to me. I'm not wearing a baseball cap in the winter. What could this be?
Good point, good point.
It's been made apparent to me over my months here that Midwesterners seem to think that this is a hat. Or maybe it's not even a Midwestern thing. Maybe it's just people who don't know what the definition of a hat is. I don't know. But I'm here to affirm and speak my truth. And my truth is that this right here is not a hat. It's a beanie. A hat requires a bill. It's a very slippery slope if we start calling these things hats.
Was that a hat drop?
No,
instead of a
it
mic
was a
drop?
beanie drop.
Ooh, okay. All right, George. So now you have about 2 minutes to rebut. Of course, Jake, you can yell back at him. Let's get it started. What's your rebuttal?
Yeah, so first off, this beanie that you're not calling a hat, where does it preside on your body?
My head.
Yeah. And it's like on your head you wear headwear, right? When you wear like something on your head, like a hat or a beanie.
That is what the word headwear means, yes.
Yes, and beanie falls under the same category hat does, in the headwear. And they're both hats. They both are on your head.
No, they're both headwear.
What do you call a cowboy hat?
A cowboy hat.
Would you define that as a hat?
Yes, it has a brim, it has a lid, it has an extension.
And a sombrero you would call a hat.
That is correct.
But a beanie you would not call a hat, even though it is also on your head and keeps you warm in some way like a hat.
All you have said to me is that a hat and a beanie are in the same category of headwear. And that's not a category I'm going to dispute. I think that's absolutely right. But in the same way that a triangle and a square are both shapes, does not mean that a triangle is a square. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that just because you wear something on your head doesn't mean it's a hat, it means it's headwear. You said so yourself.
But in a beanie is the exact same thing as a hat. Like they're both on your head and they both keep you warm. Nothing about like it having a brim and it being like insulated is different.
What if I put a sock on my head? Is that a hat? What if I take out an umbrella and put it over my head? I'm technically putting it over my head and it's keeping me warm.
But it's not encompassing your head. Like a hat is on your head, like encompasses the whole body part of it. A beanie encompasses your head and has the whole part of it, they're both hats. They're both on your head.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you think about this, Andrew, but I'm just kind of hearing a lot of jibber jabber, and then they're the same thing.
See, right now, I mean, yeah, I think you guys are kind of butting heads, right? I don't know whether or not you have headwear on your heads, but you're saying that a brim is needed on the hat extended outwards to classify it as a hat versus
But earlier you
else.
said that a cowboy hat, which does not extend, it extends outwards and all around, also counts as a hat. So your definition of hat keeps slightly changing based on like...
No, I think it's been actually quite consistent. It's a hat, a cowboy hat you wear on your head. It has something that extends out. It's a hat. A beanie doesn't have anything that extends out. It's not a hat.
But some beanies like flip up and they extend out a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a solid like centimeter right there if you flip it outwards.
Okay. This doesn't make it a hat.
I think that's extended outwards though, wouldn't you say?
Under your definition, that extends outward.
I don't know.
I mean, you're also wearing a pretty small beanie right now. I'm talking about like the beanies that are designed.
This doesn't make this a hat. This makes me an idiot. Like,
All right, guys. With that, I mean, we got George's thoughts on Jake's hot take. I'm gonna kind of have to cut you guys off right there. We'll have time later for a little bit more arguing. But before we get to hear what you brought to the table, George, I want to show you what the people of Chicago had to say about this heated discussion. We're here in downtown Chicago, right next to the Chicago Tribune Tower in the Chicago River. Today, we're going to be asking people, is a beanie a hat? All right, I'm here with
Lindsay.
Daniel.
and
Risa.
Romeo.
Emily.
I have one question for you today. It's a very important question in our society. Everyone's been wondering it. Is a beanie a hat?
Absolutely. A beanie is definitely a hat. Hell yeah, it's a hat.
I mean, I need a reason. Let's go.
It goes on your head, doesn't it? It covers your head just like any other hat would do. Keeps you warm. It's definitely a hat.
No, it's a sock for your head.
Whoa! Did you say it's a sock for your head?
Yes, I did.
That's incredible. All right, how do you feel about that?
That's interesting. Usually you use socks for your feet, but that's a good little nugget there.
I mean, a lot of things can go on. I can put this mic on my head. Does that make it a hat?
You can't put the mic on your head. 1, 2.
That is a good question. I don't even know.
Well, what makes you pause? Like, why wouldn't a beanie be a hat?
I have no idea.
Is a visor a hat?
It's like a half hat.
It's a half hat.
I think it's like a bonnet or something like that.
Like a bonnet. That's an interesting take. We haven't heard that one yet. Now, is this a bias pick because you're wearing a beanie today or no?
No, I don't need it to be a hat to wear it, but it's on my head, so it's a hat.
Okay, so if I put a frying pan on my head, does that make it a hat?
If it's fitted nice into your head, then yes.
Okay, what about one of those hats that has a little like pinwheel and like you just flick it and it goes and it has like no purpose? Is that a hat?
Absolutely.
So you think the definition of a hat is something on your head?
That fits nice, yes.
Who like named it a beanie?
Well, there's LL Bean. Is that something related?
Ooh, I don't know.
So it's a possibility.
Is a headband a hat?
Nah, that's an accessory.
So a headband's not a hat because there's no bill. Because the only difference between a headband and a visor, let's be real, it's a bill.
A headband doesn't necessarily cover your head, though.
Does a visor?
No, so it's a half hat. That's why I call it a half hat.
It's purely for warmth purposes.
Yeah, a beanie is, of course.
But it's a hat.
Yeah, but it's a hat. All hats keep you warm. People wear a hat and probably wear earmuffs at the same time. So it's all a hat. It just depends on the person and what they're looking for.
You're saying it's not a hat.
I just think so. I feel like it is a hat, because sometimes it comes over your eyes just a little bit and it's able to block out the sun. So I think it's a hat. Yeah.
Okay, see, like that's a normal answer. A sock for your head. I don't know where you came up with that.
Well, if you look at it, it's actually like shaped like a sock.
Interesting. Here, get a close-up of it. Let's diagram that once again.
It's a sock with balls on it, I guess you can say.
Yeah, this
It's a
has
sock with balls
on
on it. Quote of the day. You heard it here first. They say Midwesterners are friendly, but I was really surprised by the amount of heat people brought on such a cold day. All right, George, we've been waiting to hear your hot take. 3 minutes are on the clock. Let's hear it.
Yeah, plain and simple, umbrellas are dumb. You walk out of Tech Auditorium on like a slightly rainy day, like maybe mist, maybe a little bit coming down, and you walk out and 50 people are flipping open umbrellas, and it's impossible to walk through the area. Maybe whenever it's raining, it tends to be windy as well, and then your umbrellas are just like useless in that, and they are just a useless feature. You have a raincoat for a reason. That stops the rain from hitting you and getting you wet. You don't need a second accessory to add more money on to like your bills just to get rid of this extra water when it's going to be constantly windy as well in the windy city.
I mean, all right, so you're saying basically that it takes up space, it's an unnecessary hit on your bill. I mean, what if it's free?
I mean, if it's free, it still doesn't matter because it's just like a nuisance to the other people that you're walking around. Like if I'm trying to get to class and let's say I have like 10 minutes to get there and like there's 20 people like all around me with umbrellas, like that's extra things I have to dodge to get to class on time.
Very fair. All right, well this is Jake's time now. Let's hear your rebuttal.
We have a saying in the humble streets of coastal elite paradise in West Los Angeles. You will never catch me lacking. Fully strapped.
He's got an umbrella.
Times. When I came out here and ventured to the Midwest, I learned very quickly that this was something you needed on you at all times because you never know when rain will strike. The Midwest is fairly unpredictable in terms of its weather. So, you might not always have a raincoat handy. You might not be prepared for it. But as long as you have an umbrella on your person at all times, you will stay dry. Now, I don't know what this.
So I think you're just a soft Californian who can't deal with a little rain. As someone who's from Portland, Oregon, who it rains all the time there. I have never owned an umbrella once in my life.
I'm
never.
So sorry.
Never owned an umbrella. It's completely useless. You really just don't need it, and they're just dumb because you're like walking out there and you have a raincoat. Do you own a raincoat?
Yeah.
Does that keep you dry?
Not entirely.
Then you should probably get a new raincoat, first of all. But second of all, the raincoat the whole use is to keep you dry. You don't need to have something above you as well on a windy day. So Chicago's pretty windy, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
And when it's windy, it's hard to use an umbrella. They're flopping all over the place. They're getting all over the place.
Apparently you've never owned an umbrella.
I still have like held an umbrella before. I don't have to own one to hold one.
Interesting. He's a thief. I'm hearing he's a thief.
Or
at least borrows on bad terms. First of all, I would like the viewers to donate to this poor child of the Pacific Northwest to get him an umbrella. This is child cruelty. We're calling CPS after the show. That's number one. Two, I'd like to address the point of dodging umbrellas. Now, I don't know what people in Portland do with their umbrellas.
I mean,
I don't know what people outside. I don't know what people outside.
If you use an umbrella in Portland,
I don't
know that you're from California and you're just a tourist.
What people outside of Tech do with their umbrellas. I personally am not flinging my umbrella at innocent passersby to make them have to dodge the umbrella.
When I'm trying to get into a room, and the person in front of me is like has their umbrella, and they're like in front of me, and they're about to open the door, they're gonna take a second to like unhook their umbrella, like put it back into its like whatever, like its case, and that like takes up time, and I like can't get into the classroom then.
Okay, you still have to take off your rain jacket, and you want to talk about inconvenience. If you're bringing in your rain jacket, it's sopping wet, and you're going to get the people next to you wet when you take it off. Whereas if you have an umbrella, you can just put it in the bag, and everyone's happy. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it's an inconvenience.
All right, and with that, we have to cut it off right there. All I'll say is, I thought one of you would bring up the point that it's bad luck to open an umbrella inside. At least that's how I live. But as far as now, we've already heard what our two panelists have to say. As we await the final decision on who will secure the bag, I scoured the internet to find what I determined was the best hot take of the week.
This is Andrew's spiciest, flaming hot Fuego take of the week.
And now for our spiciest Fuego flaming hot take of the week, we have a tweet coming at you from Razzle Red at the Great Cathsby. She said, "Here's a hot take. Britney Spears' Toxic works as a metaphor for jewel addiction. Please discuss." Got 5 likes. So here's the thing about this hot take. At first, when I first read this on my Twitter feed, I was like, this is insane. Like, I don't know what she's talking about. But then I looked at the lyrics for Toxic because I needed a little bit of a refresher. It's been out for a while. I mean, it's uncanny how close, how similar, I mean, of a relationship these two things are. Jewel Addiction and Toxic by Britney Spears. The song starts off with, "Baby, can't you see? It's dangerous. There's no escape. I can't wait. I need a hit. Baby, give it to me. You're dangerous. I'm loving it." I mean, it's uncanny. It's like Britney Spears was talking about being addicted to a jewel. And then obviously there's the whole too high, can't come down, losing my head, spinning round and around. Do you feel me now? So, you know what? I'm going to officially say for the first ever edition of the Spiciest Fuego Flaming Hot Take of the Week, this is not even really a hot take. I mean, it just makes too much sense. But there you go. That is your Spiciest Fuego Flaming Hot Take of the week. And now we're going to take a break for a message from our sponsors.
The Hot Take Show is sponsored by Wolverine Fire Defense, the best fire extinguishers capable of stopping heat even hotter than your friend's hottest takes. And by Rise's Chips. Rises, try our new Bayless flavor and immediately swap your measured opinions for a portfolio as rich as the best hot take artist around.
All right, Jake, George, we've heard your hot takes. As you know, I'll be the final judge in determining who secures the bag. I'm putting a minute on the clock to hear your closing statements. George, you go first.
Yeah, I think we've learned some really interesting things today. But to start off, I really want to talk about why a beanie is still a hat. When you wear a beanie or a hat throughout the whole day, if you were to take it off at any moment, you'd have hat hair, regardless if it was a beanie or if it was a hat. That, plain and simple, should show you that a beanie is a hat. Moving on to umbrellas, we've learned really some interesting topics today, but umbrellas are just dumb. They get in your way throughout the entire day when you're walking up and down wherever you are, and they just don't have a great purpose. You have a raincoat for a reason, and if you're using an umbrella, you're just soft. And that's really all there is to it.
All right, Jake?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have traversed the western half of this great nation, across the Purple Mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain, and touched down at O'Hare International Airport. And I arrived here, and I've been exposed to so many wonderful things, and so many different ideas. But not all ideas were created equal. The idea that an umbrella is soft is simply just incorrect, or rather, incorrect. See, sometimes we don't say the things we mean to say. Sometimes we say hat hair, even though it's not really a hat. Sometimes we say lectern when we mean podium. People misname things all the time, so pay no credence to that hat hair argument. Now, as opposed to the umbrella concern, I would argue that there is a toxic masculinity culture that is pervasive throughout this nation. The idea that you are soft because you don't want to be rained upon. What did you gain? What did you gain? You walked home, you're dripping wet. Your rain jacket is covered in water, and you take it off, and you have to annoy the poor engineering students next to you at Tech Auditorium. It's simply not fair. From a utilitarian standpoint, from a justice standpoint, and simply from a rational standpoint, umbrellas are not dumb. They are meant to be used for the very purpose which they were provided. They were invented for a reason. We don't like to get wet. We live on land, not water. We are landlubbers. We don't like it above us. We don't like it beneath us. So, we use umbrellas for a reason. We do it to stay dry. And for good reason, that is. Andrew?
All right, and with that, thank you both. Before I announce the winner, however, here's what our fans had to say on social media. We asked our followers on social media who they thought had the hotter take, and actually, it looks like no one's responded quite yet. Oh, wait. Looks like we have one vote, and it's for George. George, how do you feel? What are you doing on your phone?
I'm just texting my mom about this show. I think it's a great opportunity, and I just want her to know about it.
Oh man. Anyway, here are my final thoughts. And so, it all comes down to this. Who have I chosen to secure the bag? First of all, both of you, thank you so much for coming. You're both awesome on this inaugural episode of the Hot Take Show. However, only one man can truly have the hotter take. And so this is who I chose. Due to a multitude of factors, including taking a personal narrative approach to not only arguing his own take, but also rebutting the other man's take, the emergence of not only the prop of his own, but also his opponent's prop, And in the end, just a complete synthesis of both takes into one final argument as to why he is the ultimate hot take champion of the day. The official winner of the first ever episode of the Hot Take Show is none other than Jake Liker. Congratulations. Do you have anything you would like to say?
Thank you. Thank you, George. This was a very riveting debate. I appreciate it. I'd like to declare this a victory for the good people of the Gateway to the Pacific Rim, Los Angeles, California. I think we have been vindicated, not as weak, but as wise in our reaction to our ever-changing climate.
You heard it there. That's a great final statement. As your trophy, you have officially, like I've been saying, secured the bag, a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos. Again, do what you like with those. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So that wraps up the first episode of the Hot Take Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Jake Liker and George Irving, I'm Andrew Fenichel. For more great content from the whole Unplugged team behind this production, follow us on social media at Unplugged and log on to the website at powderbluemedia.com. Keep your haters hating, keep your hot takes hot. Till next time, see ya.